You're with NewsMakers. On the panel, Mayor Garry Jackson, Eugenie Sage and Jamie Gough. Well, Air New Zealand has unveiled a cabin redesign that will change the way many economy class travellers fly. Amongst a slew of changes, it's the Sky Couch that has grabbed attention, and this will enable people to lie down in economy if you're prepared to pay the price. It has been called Cuddle Class. Is it a winner, Mr. Gough?
I think it's a winner in the sense that they're being innovative. Any company that doesn't continue to innovate and stand still then becomes less relevant. So I take my hat off to Rob Fife and the team for finding something, if we're being honest about it, it's something that already existed and they've just created a brand out of it, given a mattress and given it a pricing structure. If anyone has flown at an obscure time on a long haul flight, you might have a seat beside you which is free.
Yes.
And you lift up the armrest and you lie down. There you go, there's Cuddle Class right there. It's been happening for a long time, it's just reinventing it. It's like marketing bottled water. It's always been there. Now all of a sudden you've got a sales pitch for it and you've got a brand. I think it's great though that it does make it cheaper. If you have two people there, you buy the third seat at half price.
Yes. So
there you go. It's and they give you a mattress for it, and you're away laughing. I don't think it'll be overly comfortable, but it's a step in the right direction. And it's all credit to Air New Zealand for being innovative and coming up with this in house.
There are possibilities to take this a further step, and I just wonder if you are single and you're travelling long haul and you would like to lie down with someone, I wonder if Air New Zealand need to set up a little facility on their website where you can do a bit of matchmaking.
Diversification. They could sort of branch into sort of the adult friend finder sort of thing.
Exactly.
Or something, find a friend, make a date.
Yes, yeah.
Go to LA.
Exactly.
Why not Paris, the city of love?
Yes, exactly. What do you think of it, Eugenie? Is this revolutionary stuff?
I wouldn't say it's revolutionary, but it does seem to be a good marketing innovation. And don't go on long haul flights very often, but that urge to lie down gets to you. So
it is absolutely awful though. Yeah, like there is nothing worse when you're there and you're so tired and you just think, my goodness, I just need to sleep, but I'm just so ridiculously uncomfortable I can't. So that's why you pick the red-eye times where there's no one sitting around you. I like to scam the system, you see.
Well, that's very honest of you.
But now I don't need to.
No. Now, Garry, when you're on a global junket for the Hurunui district,
not so much for Hurunui, but I do travel a bit on other interests, yeah.
You do, yes. Do you think this Sky Couch concept would be appealing to you?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And in fact, I think to a whole lot of people. I mean, the way in which now the economy class seats are structured, and particularly where flights are full because schedules have been cut back, it is a nightmare trying to fly long haul overnight in those seats which do not recline. I think it's great. Picking up on what Jamie said, to me the exciting piece about this from what I heard is that not only was this design engineered, innovation was done here, they patented the idea.
Yes.
So that to me is the real winner out of this. This is Kiwi ingenuity working well. I think it's a great brand builder for Air New Zealand. Obviously others will do it sooner or later. I think it's just great.
It's interesting, apparently there were 25 different designs they looked at, and one of them was a bunking situation where you had double beds as such, which perhaps another airline will pick up. I thought that would be quite interesting. Air Scout, perhaps. Now, going from cuddle class to sumo class, you may be aware that a number of airlines, in fact an increasing number of airlines, are cracking down on the freedoms of the obese to crush their fellow passengers at will in flight. Air France has joined American Airlines in requiring an obese passenger to purchase a second seat if they cannot house their entire person within the confines of one seat. And they risk being offloaded if they aren't prepared to fork out for a second seat. Is this fair enough, and should Rob Fife be following suit?
Well, I had visions. Visions of how you check your check-in bags through a little metal contraption to see whether it's the right size. Would people have to do that, or would we have to go through scales every time we check in to determine what weight we are? But I think you need incentives and disincentives, and I guess if people have got a medical certificate that they are medically large, but it may be an incentive for people to lose weight.
So if you've got diabetes type 2, you'll be out of luck. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I guess with increasing obesity in New Zealand, we've also got to look at things like nutrition in schools. The government getting rid of those guidelines for school canteens was really unfortunate. We need to look at the fact that our weight generally is increasing, and we could all do to lose a bit.
But the simple fact with this though, Eugenie, and I think I'm a big believer in user pays, and if you take up one seat, you pay for one seat. And if you're a fatty that takes up 3 seats, well, you're pretty big if you take up 3 seats. But even if it's 2, you should pay for 2 seats. If you take up more, then you pay for more. You get Sky Couch.
Yes, yes. You see, I would have thought purely on an economics basis, a heavier passenger per unit requires more fuel for the plane to fly.
That's why you're only allowed 1 bag.
Yes.
But look how you get penalised though as well. You're not allowed a bag over 20 kgs. So there's a lot of bags in a very, very obese person.
Yeah. Do you think Air New Zealand should follow the lead of Air France, American Airlines?
I think it's a commercial decision, Mike, which picks up a little bit, I think, on what Jamie said. It's a user pays issue. It's the private enterprise model. If Air New Zealand doesn't want to do it, then they might be unique with every other airline. If they did it, if the other airlines all did it, and one airline doesn't, then you know that's the rule of the jungle will apply. The issue for me, though, is that the airlines have to manage this around not only the way they treat the obese person in terms of you wouldn't want to be seen to be discriminatory, and I'm not sure how the US airlines are managing it, but equally they've got to manage the customer satisfaction of all their other passengers.
It's a very delicate,
so there's a very delicate balance to manage. If some airlines are doing it, I can only say, you know, so be it. The others will make their own commercial marketing decision. Wherever it falls, it falls.
I find it almost bizarre, though, that now that it's not done, if you take up 2 seats, well, surely you'd pay for 2 seats. I think it makes sense.
Yes, I would have thought so, Jamie. You're a man of good common sense, eh?
Can be questionable sometimes.
A related issue has flared up in the news this week. Stomach stapling surgery. It could be available in Christchurch this year, courtesy of the taxpayer for obese diabetics. Now, the weight loss operations roughly cost about $15,000, and some proponents of this idea say that the long-term costs of, for example, having diabetes type 2 could be in the vicinity of $100,000 plus. So economically, does it make sense, or is it rewarding irresponsibility? Garry?
Not entirely sure, Mike, to be quite frank. I have a view which says that if it's an absolute medical necessity, and you talk there about diabetes type 2, then maybe, yes, it should be part of the public health system. But if we're talking about it from a cosmetic surgery basis, in terms of all of the other forms of cosmetic surgery that are out there, I come back to, you know, personal responsibility, diet, exercise, everything else, and I'm not sure that it should be part of the public health system. So I'm not sure if that's a great answer or not, but
it was a considered answer, I think.
I guess the fundamental thing to me is the personal responsibility issue. If it's an outright medical issue, which is diabetes, and it's for whatever the reason is, it then becomes a matter of the public health system, then probably it can be done.
Sure. Okay.
That's about where I sit.
A very quick comment, Eugenie?
Similarly, but it's, I guess, an option that's weighed by the health professionals against all the other priorities in health. And after all the other ways of losing weight have been thoroughly gone into, diet, exercise.
Jamie?
I've always been a big believer in personal responsibility and all that sort of stuff. No one's forced people to be fed, but as Gary's saying as well, there sometimes are medical reasons. Unfortunately, I would have, when we first knew that we were going to be talking about this, I was going to say, you take in more calories, you gain weight. You take in less calories than you burn, you lose weight. Simple as that. Yeah. However, no one's been forced to smoke, yet the government subsidises, quite rightly so, people wanting to give up smoking. And the benefits in the health system are quite evident. And I think when I consider this, because I do pay attention to what we're going to be talking about sometimes, but I do think that the overall benefits to the New Zealand health system will probably see dividends. Because long term, they're going to cost us, the taxpayer, a whole lot more money in the long term.
And deprive us of elective surgery.
Yeah, exactly. So it's really incentivising a better future and less money to be spent in the health system in the long run.
Okay, there you go. In a moment, we are going to look at the exposed willy, which has caused quite a fuss in the media, and who said that? And other issues. Do stay with us.